up, y'all? That is a tune called the Roscommon Reel, and I just got back from Ireland like 3 days ago, and that tune, I think I heard it literally every session I went to. We went to, I don't know, played at 8 or 9 different sessions over the course of a week and a half or so, and it came up a lot. It came up, I'm pretty sure, every time, so I thought it might be a good one to break down. It's a 3-part reel. Don't let that worry you, though. There's a bit of repetition to it, and it's not a super long tune, but it is a fun one, so let's see if we can break it down. Tune fits great on the flute and the whistle. I'm going to play it on my standard D whistle here. Grab one of those if you've got it. Let's see what we can start with. Just a basic melody here, A part, nice and slow. That's the first half. Hopefully you're able to pick that up. I'm going to post sheet music and tabs and all that stuff over my Patreon if you're interested. There's also a deep dive of this if you really want to break down the, as I like to say, excruciating minutia of the tune. A lot more ornamentation, variation kind of stuff. If you're feeling it, please do check it out. Second half of the A part is nearly a repeat. It just rounds off slightly differently here. So here we go. So it wouldn't have that turnaround at the end. But otherwise, yeah, basically the same. Now the C part, the third part of this tune, has a lot of complements of the A parts. It's not exactly the same, but some of those phrases are going to sound familiar when we get there. But let's jump into the B part. That does go into the second octave E in fact, and kind of bounces around a bit. So here we go. Part, unlike the A part and really the C part, does have a bit more variability here in the second half. So it's not exactly a repeat, starts off kind of the same, has a bit of a pickup, and then we'll carry on here. So here we go, second half of the B part. Slightly different ending there. Hopefully you're already thinking ahead and coming up with some possibilities for ornamentation, like some rolls. We got those long-held notes, but we'll get to that in a second. Let's run through the whole B part just because it is a bit different. I'm going to play it once through. Maybe you can play along and see how that goes. So here we go. How'd you do? Hopefully you got through that reasonably okay. Again, tabs and sheet music are available if you want it, but run through that a few times. Hopefully you get that locked down. Now the C part, a little similar to the A part, I suppose, in that it ends the same way, more or less. But it's got a lot of long-held notes, so hopefully, again, keeping those wheels turning for some ornament options. But here we go, basic melody, nice and easy. So again, that end bit, same as the way that the A part ends. So hopefully you can copy and paste a little bit there. Hopefully you got that. Let's run through the whole basic melody. Nice kind of normal tempo, not worrying about the ornamentation, which we'll get to shortly. Here we go. All the way through all 3 parts. Here we go. much of that did you get through? Hopefully it kind of made sense as we pieced it all together. If not, go back, run through, break down some of those individual sections, anything you're struggling with, just run through it a few times and really get that melody nice and locked in. I like to use a lot of slides and a couple of well-placed rolls with this tune. This is a tune that is fairly notey, or at least can be fairly notey, which means it can be easy to overdo ornaments, so I would be mindful of that and not try to pile too much into it. But a couple of spots right away. Sliding into that first tune, in a minor tune, it kind of adds to that sort of dark, dirty kind of sound. I like that. Especially on the whistle, that particular slide going from D to E. It's just got a very characteristic, nice sound, I think. And a nice simple roll in the F sharp with a bit of separation before it, hopefully to make it stand out a bit, to give it that first kind of staccato punch. And it's so far first time in the tune. You could do a roll on the end there as well. Same thing, giving a bit of separation before. That one in particular, I think, is a nice way to end that phrase. If you can get that good punchy sound out of it, then. So we turn it back around. Could do two rolls on the F sharp. Kind of a cool effect. And that's one that, again, you might be easy to abuse and overdo it a bit, so keep that in mind. Simple is usually a better option on a real notey tune like this. I'll almost always slide into that second octave E, because we're finishing the A part on the lower E. Nice way to give that bump without worrying about breaking the note. And then I'll do a roll on B. I think that gives it a good, nice punchy sound there. Cutting that F sharp, that's kind of the highest note in the phrase thing. So far, that's the highest note we've hit, so I like to accent that. Sorry, cutting the G, going from the F sharp to the G. And then if you're feeling confident, if you're confident in your whistle, a good roll on A always sounds kind of nice. You could always slide into that easier too, if that's a little bit more confidence inspiring. See, it kind of gives it a little bit more of a confidence boost, I think, as you stick that landing going into that roll on the second octave A. Something to try, see if it helps. As you're going from the second octave there in the beginning of that phrase to the roll on B, be mindful of how much air you're applying to that and really be focusing on getting good clean sound. I don't really do a whole lot else in that phrase other than a bit of staccato, a bit of tonguing to give each note a little bit of time to shine, I guess, and also to make sure that I'm hitting them cleanly on either side of the break. All right, so that's how I would finish that phrase. And I mentioned as we were going through the basic melody, be mindful of some roll possibilities. And that's where I would put it, rather than just those long-held notes. That's how I would apply that. And I use that nearly every time. I think that kind of descending roll sound sounds good, but I will usually then slip in one intentionally held out phrase, kind of the more basic way, just to signify that that is kind of where it came from. That's the default. There's not really a whole lot to that beginning of the third part, so you've got a few options. Rolls work really well. Right, that certainly fills the gap. Slides on the B also work really well, and I would alternate those. I would provide both if I'm playing this tune a few times. The first time I might do a big rolly kind of thing. Second time I might do slides and keep it fairly simple. So I would use both options. And a nice little separation there, a bit of tonguing just to give that final phrase a bit of a lift. We're still trying to get that kind of bounce to it, and with this tune I think it's easy to make it kind of square, like a machine gun sound. give it a little bit of bounce, a little bit of a lift. That's ultimately what I'm going for anyway. So let me know what you think of this one. 3-part tune. Hopefully you got something out of this and maybe add it to your collection. It's a great tune, and it seems to be extremely popular in Ireland, at least the sessions that I wandered into. I'm not sure if that was just blind luck or if that's a tune that's just going around everywhere. I don't know. But it's a great one, and I'm glad I knew it. I'm glad I got to play it with a bunch of different folks. So let me know what y'all think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.